Roundtable Sports Network brings you NFL divisional debate coverage on a weekly basis from your favorite content creators across YouTube, featuring the AFC East Roundtable live Monday and Wednesday evenings, the AFC South Roundtable live Tuesdays at 7 p.m. EST, the NFC South Roundtable live Tuesdays at 7 p.m. EST, the NFC West Roundtable live Tuesdays at 9 p.m. EST. The AFC West Roundtable live Tuesdays at 9 p.m. EST. The NFC North Roundtable live Wednesdays at 6 p.m. EST. The AFC North Roundtable live Wednesdays at 6 p.m. EST. The NFC East Roundtable live Thursdays at 6 p.m. EST. Roundtable Sports. Real coverage from real fans.
NFC South Roundtable. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the first Panthers Roundtable on the NFC South channel. I appreciate everyone in here joining the live stream. Make sure you do me a favor, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button. We got some Bucs fans, we got the Panthers fans, we've got New Orleans fans in here. So we got a lot to talk about, man. Deontay Johnson just got traded. Bryce Young's going to be the starter again week 9. We're going to be talking about some draft strategy. We're going to talk about some trade deadline. We're also going to be talking about, is David Tepper's patience running thin? Is it running thin? All right, but I didn't come alone. All right, I didn't come alone. All right, I got a crew that I put together, and I think each and every one of you are going to enjoy them. You already know one of them. We're going to bring them in at each and every one of them. We got Dougie Fresh in the house. What's up, Doug?
Yo, yo, yo.
How are we this evening?
Man, chilling. Can't call it, man. This has been in the works for a couple of, weeks, working, trying to get everything ready, man. Finally glad that we're able to bring this segment to Roundtable Sports, but the NFC South channel. Unfortunately, our team is not the hot topic right now, but what a better time to talk about it and bring you guys a new segment to the platform of Roundtable Sports and to Panther Nation.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you coming on, Doug. We got another crew member in here. We got CJ of Two Fans in the Stands. Welcome in, CJ. How are you doing this evening?
Feeling good, man. Glad to be here. How y'all doing?
We're doing good. You ready for tonight?
Oh, yeah. Look, I'm ready. I came with the apparel and everything.
Fleeced again. It feels that way, doesn't it? Doesn't it feel that way?
It's more than a feeling, dog. More than a feeling.
And then, of course, CJ's partner in crime. If you haven't checked out their channel, obviously we got their links in this description, or should be. If not, I will reattach them. But make sure you guys go over there, these guys' channels, like and subscribe as well. But here is CJ's right-hand man, Tony.
Yeah, we squabbing.
Tony, you got to give it. You have to give it to me the way you do it. You got to give it to me. How we feeling?
Hey, man, I got 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. Clay, I guess I call it even.
There it is. That's what I want. That's what I needed.
Sir.
That's what I needed. Well, guys, I appreciate these guys coming on. Make sure you guys go like and subscribe to their channel. We got a lot to talk about, and obviously, Tony and CJ and Doug, I actually want to start off because I know that we kind of went over it already on the NFC South Roundtable last night, but I kind of want to hear y'all's thoughts. The NFC South Roundtable's already heard my thoughts about the Broncos game. I kind of want to get y'all's individuals of like a little bit of a recap of what y'all really thought. Doug, just give me a quick overview of what you thought about that game.
Offense wasn't perfect, but I did see growth from Bryce. One thing, I mean, we shouldn't be saying it like that, but you definitely saw a different Bryce Young from the first 2 weeks of the season to when he played right now, which is a great thing. And also, I mean, there were some bad as well. Could have been miscommunications with some of those interceptions. But for me, defense is defense. That's not going to change. But I'm not going to take everybody's thoughts. I know we probably are thinking the same thing, but the youth movement, and I'm liking the youth movement that we're trying to go to, doing it the right way. just don't plug and pull with somebody. That's how you build your team. It's through the draft. And you're seeing some of these young cats either from within 3 years or less finally showing up with opportunities that they have. So for me, it's improvement, but we're week 9, week 8, week 9. There really shouldn't be improvement. There should be consistency going on right now.
Facts.
CJ, what your thoughts?
Okay. Now, mine is going to be a little different from my usual rant. If you look at the amount of drives that the defense gave up, okay, we gave up 4 scoring drives. All right. And on a normal game this Panther season in 2024, we're giving up 6, 7, 8 scoring drives. Okay. This game was winnable if the offense could have caught up. Okay. So we had 2 turnovers on defense, something that we haven't had in quite a while. Like I said, we only gave up 4 scoring drives. So I'm hoping that that's a trend in the right direction for the defense. I'm hoping. I'm going to put that out there. I'm just hoping. But if the offense can somehow catch up and the Panthers can keep this trend going on defense, we might have just a smidgen of hope to do something, like look like we care, look competitive. But, it was still a bad game. We still got our ass beat. But, hey, I tried to take a little bit of something from it, and that was it.
Tony, what you got for me?
My takeaway was, but the main thing I was looking for was the evolution of Bryce, if it was going to be there or not. I didn't care whether or not Carolina won. I wanted to see if Bryce being set this amount of time or whatever did him any good, and I thought he looked different. I think he looked like the Bryce somewhat that we thought he would look like. I saw him standing in the pocket more often, stepping into his throws, hitting his back foot, maybe hitching one time, letting the ball out, taking command of the offense. I just thought he just looked a lot different than he did the first 2 games. The cons is not being able or not getting the playoff in time. Too many delayed penalties. Okay. Things that, small things like that. But the overall bigger picture, I think he wants being able to start again, and hopefully we get to see the Bryce that we've been wanting to see since he was drafted. And hopefully this time did him so good. The defense played better. They only gave up 7 points in the second half. There were some guys that we normally give normally we talk negative about that showed up and came to play yesterday. So we hope that trend continues with Shy Tuttle and Ashawn Robinson. So I think the game was better than what a lot of us, especially me, expected.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I just felt like it was the same thing, different week. Honestly, like, I mean, Bryce, and I didn't really get to allude to this on the NFC South roundtable yesterday evening, but Bryce was just up and down for me, right? Like mostly down. Like he had a couple nice throws under pressure. He looked a bit calmer in the pocket than his first 2 starts. I'll give him that, but he's still, for me, and then maybe it's not him that's doing this. That Bryce is checking down so much. Maybe it's Canales playing conservative, right? But he also missed some crucial throws. And sure, he didn't have his top receiver, which he's gone anyway, so that doesn't even matter anymore. But Canales wasn't exactly encouraged him to air it out. And when he did, we saw like that one pass to the corner route to Jalen Coker over the back shoulder fade, and he didn't, and that was a beautiful throw. But other than that, we really didn't see much of that besides that throw. And I think maybe a couple throws over the middle that were nice. One to David Moore, I think it was. One was to Leggett. Actually, Leggett should have kept running on the one route, but it was on Leggett on that one. But when I was watching the film, but it didn't do enough for me to say that this guy is a franchise guy, right? I do give props to Sean Robinson, Shy Tuttle. I can't believe I'm giving props to Shy Tuttle. You know,
Bruh.
you know what I mean?
Hey,
You give Sean Robinson, right, who had 2 sacks that day, right? At least he showed up, finally coming back. But like Shy Tuttle, man, where's that been? That's what we expected Shy Tuttle to be when he came here from New Orleans. A year, game in and game out. I think we might have, and I'm on the Coker train, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just going to let that be known. I'm on the Coker train.
Oh yeah,
I think Coker is
better
he
than
might
Mingo?
end up. He might. Well, that's
But
an obvious.
I was trying to help you out, Clay. I was just trying to help you out.
That's an
Yes,
obvious
he is.
answer right there. That's an obvious answer, right? But like, yeah, he's better than Mingo. He's better than Terrace Marshall Jr. He's an undrafted free agent. This guy comes out of nowhere and is a great route runner. He plays this game like a pro when you watch him play, right? And he's a highlight worthy guy. Xavier Leggett had a nice snag against Patrick Surtain. I think Leggett's just going to continue to improve. And again, JC Horn continues to hold it down when he's actually on the best wide receiver on the team. But that's a different story for another day with Ajira Evero.
Hey, Clay, we can also give JT Saunders his due. You know, I mean, he's looking better and better as well. That's why I said the youth movement I'm more enjoying now with the outcome of the season. Because again, I mean,
and I think that's where we need to go anyways. Right? I think that at this point you're 1-7. Remember when's the last time we've seen this team, right, gentlemen? When's the last time we've seen this team just know that we're done for the year, right? And then start a youth movement and start putting the younger players out there. When's the last time that
Matt Rules? Was that what year did we do the all defensive draft?
I think that was his first draft. That was his first year.
draft.
So right at that back end we did, but we didn't do it this early. We did it at the back end, meaning like 4 or 5 games. But we still have 7 games still.
Right.
So
it was the 2020 season, if I'm not mistaken.
And I'll say this: I'm not trying to give one of the homies or one of the panelists PTSD, but I don't agree with rushing Jonathan Brooks back this week. I pray to God they do not. I pray that they wait a week, and I already know I'm probably jumping the gun. But we're talking about a youth movement, and Jonathan Brooks. The talk during media was he practiced in full.
Yeah,
and I'm praying with the rumors of Miles Sanders possibly being traded. Don't rush that young man back. Please don't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Please don't.
I agree.
No, I totally agree. I want him back. I want to see what we got out of him, right? Because of what we, with the whole trade and everything, and we actually fleeced someone in that one somehow. But I do want to see what we got out of this kid, because this kid, before he tore his ACL at Texas, was about to break all of Bijan's records.
Correct.
He was on pace to break all of Bijan's records. I want to see him play, but I want this kid's knee to be 100%. And it sounds like it is as of right now, but you don't want to risk it after coming off.
He tore it in December, right?
He tore it in November.
So we're about to hit a full year. We're about to hit a full year almost, right?
Correct.
Okay. Hey, well, look, if they mess around and trade Chuba,
they're not gonna trade Chuba, though.
Yeah, you know me long enough, Doug. I'm always gonna throw in the what ifs, the conspiracy theories.
We'll get into the whole trade thing.
Okay.
We'll get into the whole trade thing. We'll get into there. Don't hold, Doug. I know you're ready. You're fired. I love it. But we're gonna get into it. I want to hear because I know Doug's gonna go off about the Chuba and some other guys, and there's guys that a lot of people don't agree with me on, like what I said today on my channel. But we have to look at the near future. Yeah, but let's actually let's just go ahead and transition into that. So obviously, are we buying this whole ordeal that our front office, right? Let's talk about the trade deadline. Are we buying this whole ordeal that there's no fire sale? Is that just not a possibility that we get rid of some valuable guys? Because Chuba Hubbard's name's been thrown in that hat, right? JC Horn's name's been thrown in that hat. Bryce Young's been thrown in that hat. We've also had Adam Thielen name in that hat. Miles Sanders, I wouldn't say he's the valuable, but he's a guy's name has been thrown into it. Jadeveon Clowney. And some others. I mean, and Doug, since we were kind of getting into that, are you buying this fire sale?
To a certain extent, I am. And what I mean by fire sale, I know CJ was throwing it out there to start it. Certain players will be kept, but then certain players will be traded. Because one thing that Carolina does not have, and I know CJ said this to me when we did Deontay Johnson's trade, we didn't get an extra pick, meaning that we basically swapped picks. There was no extra value there. I do think like the Clowney, Adam Thielen, if they want to, I'd rather have Jonathan Mingo. Like Tone said, Coker has definitely surpassed Jonathan Mingo already in not even a full rookie season, midway through his rookie year. Then I'm looking at like a Miles Sanders. I think we have overpaid. I do think that will actually help if we get that contract off the books so we can free some money going into 2025. But last point I'm going to make a number that kind of surprised me was I did not know Taylor Moton is due $31.3 million hit to the cap next year.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And one thing that I love Timo. I love every offensive lineman. Again, I feel indifferent about the D line, but everybody offensive line that has came in has definitely showed up and definitely looked great. That is an area of concern now for me. Whenever I did look at some notes for this live, 31.3 mil, that may be a cut, or he's not going to restructure. Dan Morgan already would have done that this offseason, and we didn't do it. So I'm not saying Timo's gonna get traded right now, but I would not want to be in Dan Morgan's shoes right now, because again, you need a youth movement. You need to build through the draft. You guys talked about the draft when you and Dave Canales got hired. So it's just a matter of putting your plan into play, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, so it's speaking. Let's kind of continue with that. Give me your thoughts on the Deontay Johnson trade.
I'll pass it because I already talked. Go ahead, CJ. You can go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, CJ.
As the shirt says, fleeced again. I hate it. Okay, because this is my whole thing. I'm gonna keep it quick. We're in a rebuild. Okay, what do you do in a rebuild? You try to get younger, you try to cut dead weight or trade it, and you try to accumulate draft picks. Okay. Mm-hmm. So even if we couldn't do any better than a 5th round pick for Deontay Johnson, why in God's name are we sending a 6th round with it? Okay. And I say that because if you're the Panthers, and as history has shown us, they're going to be trying to make multiple trades on draft day to maybe try to improve a certain pick, to target a certain player or whatnot. And what's the best way to do that? The more picks that you have. Mind you, we went into this trade with 9 picks, and we still got 9 picks, and they moved up as the draft standings sit right now, we moved up 3-4 spots. Mm-hmm. So I didn't get it. I didn't get it at all. My thing is, even if somebody was giving you a 6th round pick for Deontay Johnson, because I mean they sent a what did we send? We sent the 6th and they sent a 7th when we traded him for when we traded for him, and we sent Jackson. My bad, I
Yeah,
can't think of the
Deontay
man's
Jackson.
name. Deontay Jackson. Yeah, when we sent him over there. But my thing is, if you get a sixth and that's it, that's still one more pick than we have. You get what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So we trade Deontay Johnson, we get a six, we got 10 picks instead of 9. This is why, I got the shirt made tonight. This is how I feel about it. It's like if we're really rebuilding,
Mhm.
after all this Deontay Johnson talk, you put
Yeah.
the trade at the beginning of the season and combine that with this trade now. And we lost Dante Jackson. Now we lost Johnson. We got rid of Michael. We drafted Michael Barrett. He's now gone because he was part of that earlier. And now we got a 5th round pick. So for
Right.
me, it just doesn't make sense as far as building and rebuilding and building through the draft. You always want to accumulate more picks because we know these jokers are going to go out here and try to trade multiple times. So that's
Yeah.
my take on it.
I got you. Tony?
Yeah. We'll just piggyback off of excuse me, off what CJ just said. With the Dante Jackson trade, he was we were we were able to trade Dante Jackson, a person that we were getting ready to cut anyway. So there was no loss when it comes to Dante Jackson. We actually stumbled into that quote unquote good trade because we were going to lose him for nothing, but we traded him and got Deontay Johnson. I think the writing was on the wall a couple weeks ago, and there was a couple things that happened, and people haven't really said too much about it. But the comment about what he said about I can't play every position in the locker, when he made that comment in the locker room. When we think about I think it was Joe Person or somebody that report. I can't remember exactly who, so I'm not gonna
Mhm.
put a stamp on that, but
Yeah.
they made the comment and they said that the Panthers have been thinking about trading Deontay Johnson for 2 weeks, for a couple weeks. So when I think about that, I was
Yeah.
like, what happened a couple weeks ago? I know me
Mhm.
and CJ talked about it, me and Doug talked about it, and everything
Mhm.
was
Mm-hmm.
like giving up on routes. So when you think about that, when you look at it, go back and look at it, what happened in week 1 and week 2 where that we always wanted to put it on Bryce, but when you really look at it, where he threw those 2 interceptions, basically the same play over the middle in those first 2 games, when you look at it, go back and look at it, he gave up on the route.
Right.
So I'm not going to say that he was a cancer in the locker room because I don't believe that. I think he had a good relationship with JC Horn. I think he was doing whatever he could to change that stigma that was on his reputation and was trying to become better. But I think there was some little context clues, if you will, that showed that you know maybe we didn't make the right decision like we thought when we traded for him. And actually, they didn't even really give up anything to get him. You traded a player that you was getting ready to cut anyway to get Deontay Johnson. So, in my opinion, that particular trade was win-win. I was asked one question: if you had a choice to trade for DeAndre Hopkins or Deontay Johnson, who would you trade for?
D Hop, but D
Mm-hmm.
Hop. Only reason why people
No,
say,
no, no, no. Just answer the question.
oh
Just
no,
answer
no,
the question.
I'm saying D
I'm
Hop,
going
but I
somewhere
was
with
gonna
it.
agree. I was gonna
Oh, for
agree with
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
CJ,
yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, go
who
ahead.
D Hop or
CJ,
Deontay
D
Johnson?
Hop or Deontay. Yeah.
D Hop.
Okay. All right.
Not okay. You said D Hop, right?
Oh, for sure.
No, the reason why I asked that question, fellas, is when you think about that, and what I've always said is what you do throughout your career builds your resume.
Mm-hmm.
These accolades that these players gets, the Pro Bowls, Super Bowls, whatever the case may be, their stats, all that is their resume. So when you look at it, what did DeAndre Hopkins get traded to the Chiefs for? A 5th round pick that was conditional for a 4th round pick.
Mhm.
If the Chiefs made the Super Bowl, and if he made All Pro, I think that was the parameters around his trade. So I don't know why so many people are so upset that we only got a 5th round pick for Deontay Johnson.
Hey, can I make this comment? One thing Deontay Johnson alluded to throughout his short tenure in Carolina is, I'm not that player that they say that I am. And
Right.
I was gonna ask you that, Tom,
Yeah.
to go back before you made that question to the panel. Is he what the media and what the Pittsburgh Steelers said he is? I don't want to call him a cancer, because again, I don't like stereotyping that narrative on a player. But is he not a good teammate, or is he selfish, just like the media said and just like the Steelers said? The true Deontay Johnson will come out.
Yep. Well,
That part what you said right there, Doug.
yeah.
I think the selfish part and not playing, not giving it his all when he's not targeted. I think that's one of the things. Those two things is more true than him being a cancer. I don't think that showed up at all
Mm-hmm.
um with the team. But the selfishness, not giving his all on each and every play, giving up on routes that we clearly saw on tape. So I can imagine what has happened behind the scenes. And I mentioned this to CJ a couple weeks ago when the talks were that it was possible, we was talking about different scenarios for the trade deadline. And I told him, I said, well, don't be surprised if Adam Thielen or Deontay Johnson agents ask the Panthers for a trade, because these guys want to compete for championships. Adam Thielen is old. He wants to compete for a championship before he leaves. Deontay Johnson, he's going to want to compete for a championship. Those type of guys don't really want to be a part of a rebuild. So don't be surprised that behind the scenes, when it all come out, that Deontay Johnson or his agent asked to be traded.
Yeah. I mean,
All I
if
know
you
is
think,
something happened.
yeah, well, here's the thing, and I did some math about this. Like, if we rewind back to March, right? We flipped Deontay Jackson and a minor draft pick to the Steelers for Johnson, and I felt that in a little bit, a part of me felt like it was a little bit of a desperation move, and we were hoping a known name wide receiver. Really, he's not even a top tier number one. It's really a top. I would say he's probably a top tier number two at best. Was going to miraculously pull Bryce Young out of this mediocrity. And the best case scenario that I saw from this was that this guy was going to be this separator that we all heard that was going to help Bryce Young be that steady safety target besides Adam Thielen. Worst case scenario, I saw it as a 1-season rental, and it obviously became a short season rental. And if you break down the math, we gave up Deontay Jackson, Deontay Johnson, a 2024 7th round pick, and a 2025 6th round pick. What we got in return was a 2024 6th round pick, which was number 78 overall, and a 2025 5th round pick. So basically, we threw away who right now, Deontay Jackson is a top 5 corner in the NFL ranked, starting corner, a receiver, and some draft leverage for a couple of crapshoot draft picks, in my opinion. And that's why I think CJ shirt is perfect, because we did get fleeced. And once again.
Yeah, I was going to say, add the again.
Yep. And we still owe Deontay Johnson. Funny about that. We still owe this man $3 million for him to go play somewhere else. And the Ravens are only covering $625,000. The remaining of his contract. And we're eating, on top of all this, ladies and gentlemen that are in the chat, we're eating $9.3 million right now of dead cap off of him.
Hey, Clay, we got some super chats in the chat, and I got a comment that I made on Two Fans and also with you as well. But I want you to read the super chats first because we definitely appreciate everybody showing up tonight for the first episode of the Panthers Roundtable, man.
Doug, read this one off for me.
All right, Mr. Honky Dory. Everybody knows who this gentleman is, man. He's definitely pulled up to Two Fans. He definitely pulled up the What's Up, Doug. He definitely shows love all across the platform for Panther Nation. He said, trade what you can without stripping our young talent and O-line. Invest heavily in the draft, not free agency. Invest in your youth, 21 through 26 years old. And that's what we're doing. I definitely agree. And that's the point that I'm saying. It's a youth movement. And when we get down the line, I told Clay this. I know I literally just told CJ this today. And Tone already knows the team that I'm going to compare the Carolina Panthers to with that youth movement. And if we do the same blueprint or do a little twist with it, I think we will be fine.
Hey, real quick. Now, Clay, I do want to ask, I think you were talking about this earlier.
Yeah.
Hopefully this is a rebuild and we stop retooling.
Yes.
Because the Panthers love to retool.
Yes.
They love to go out there and upgrade the wrenches and the hammers and a little bit, but it's just like, nah, throw all them damn things away. Throw all your craftsman tools away or whatever, and go get another brand. Go get something else. Like we need to rebuild this thing. Right. Free agency is not the way to go this time. I mean, well, let me not say that. We're going to bring some free agents in here, but we can't depend on the free agents to build this for the future. Like we keep putting the same Band-Aid on our roster year after year after year, and we still bleed. So
yeah, and shout out to before I get rebuttal that Red Swarm $9.99 $10 donation basically, showing love for all you brothers' hard work. I need this show more than y'all know. Appreciate you, Red Swarm, as always, showing your support, and fuck the Falcons. Okay, moving on.
Well, he slipped that in there right there, boy.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, no.
I'm just kidding. We gotta have some fun in here, ladies and gentlemen. We gotta have some fun. No, the rebuttal okay, guys, when have we, and and I'm glad CJ brought this up, because when's the last time we have seen this team, actual Carolina Panthers front office, clean house, completely clean house, right, and actually got rid of, and I get it, because most of the time we think about it this way, and I bring up these four names. And you know where I'm going with this. Stephon Gilmore, Hassan Reddick. Who else is another one in this? I had all four of them in my head. Jeremy Chin, and of course Frankie Louvu. All right.
Can I answer this? And I know y'all gonna say that far back when we literally cleared house was right before we drafted Cameron Newton. When you really think
the same thing, it's been a while.
When you really pull the veil back and literally think about the history of the Carolina Panthers, that is the last time we actually did a true. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people, and this is where I was shocked, because I think we had Jeremy Shockey, but Greg Olsen was still in right before his prime, that we already had a veteran tight end, and we brought in Greg Olsen that same year. So that was very shocking. And when you look at how that roster was formed, it was very young. It was an up and down season, but you saw promise, because you still had veterans here. You still had Smitty. You still had I always forget his name. I can spell. Is it Wharton, the offensive lineman?
Terrell Wharton.
Yes, he was still here. So I mean, it's been a while. It's been a while.
That's what I'm saying. And here's the thing. That's the reason why, with us talking about this trade deadline, is there should be nobody safe. There should be nobody safe. I'm sorry. I don't think Chuba Hubbard's safe. I don't think Miles Sanders should be safe. I don't think J.C. Horn should be safe. I don't think Jadeveon Clowney should be safe. I think that we have to start looking towards the future. And I get it. We might not get a 3rd round pick for JC Horn. We may get a 4th, probably at best. You may get a 6th round pick or a 5th for Jadeveon Clowney. You're not going to get anything more than maybe a 3rd for JC, and that's a reach, in my opinion.
Hey, I want to ask you one question. If you were a realtor getting ready to buy a house and you saw this abandoned house and you deemed that it needed to be torn down, will you tear down will you tear up the foundation too?
Depending on how many cracks it got in.
Well, yeah, true.
Hey, now a foundation can be just as jacked up as the frame.
I've seen foundations. I've seen foundations be repaired, not torn completely up. I'm just saying.
It depends. Sometimes the foundation might be the reason that the frame ain't standing up right.
The question was to Clay, not to you, Mr. Mr. Sarcastic. The question was to Clay.
And I know where you're going with this, Tony. You're talking about.
I'm just saying.
And I get what you're going with this. I'm not saying tear everything down. Okay. There are some guys here that I want. I do want Chuba Hubbard and JC Horn to be here, right? Because they're both guys that I felt like we're starting to see JC really develop into what we drafted him to be, right? Because now he's completely staying healthy. Same thing with Chuba Hubbard. We were told this guy, didn't he run for like 2,000 yards at Oklahoma State or something?
Oklahoma State his last year.
Yeah. So we've been, we know that this guy had a motor. We knew that he could be, a cat, right? But it took him some time. But he was also in Christian McCaffrey's shadow, right? For a time being. So my thing is, there are guys I want to keep here, but there are guys that are very expendable.
Clay, can I go ahead and throw it out there? Because you already know the team that I think we should model by. And I'm going to put it out there. The Detroit Lions did not tear everything apart. They didn't do a dumpster fire.
Fair.
And I've been saying from the jump when we got Dave Canales, when you look at the GM hire, they brought in the coach. I said, that is a blueprint that you can follow. It's going to suck because they were terrible Dan Campbell's first year. His second year, they were terrible.
First year and a half.
Yeah, exactly, Tom, to that back half. Then the third year, nobody thought they'll be in the NFC Championship game. If anybody can tell me right now outside of Detroit and their fan base, nobody thought that they'll be playing in San Francisco, had the game won, but it was bad coaching decisions that ended up in the result of them losing that game in San Francisco. And now they're the number one seed right now with right now if the playoffs started. So for me, the blueprint is doing it the right way. And again, one thing Detroit said is you win in the draft. You win in the draft. And then just look at what their draft picks have been able to pour back into that organization from what Tony loves, the trenches, their offensive line. Yes, we did go spend money for it, but our offensive line is top 6, which I thought it would be a top 10 unit. Regardless of how this team is playing, that is a bright spot. But again, you don't tear the thing completely down and rebuild.
No.
Those pieces that you just said, Chuba Hubbard and JC Horn, those are cornerstone pieces.
Derrick Brown.
DB. I mean, DB ain't going on. He just got paid.
Yeah,
I would be shocked.
Right.
Yeah, I'll be shocked about that.
No, I was just throwing his name in as a foundation.
Same thing with like Robert Hunt and Damian Lewis. Those guys ain't going anywhere either. They just got paid. It's like these guys
ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
And then another example. Hold on, CJ. And I'm gonna throw this team out, and I'm gonna go ahead and just be quiet. Look at what the Washington Commanders did. If you look at their roster, look what they did.
Well, they also got a defensive-minded coach that uses his defensive players correctly. There's a difference.
Go ahead, CJ. I'm quiet. Yes.
Okay. Hey, you know what? Let me throw this out here because what Clay just said gonna take us down another rabbit hole. But hey, let me just throw this out here because I like to start some stuff around here. But okay, Chuba, and I know you said they came out the Panthers are not shopping Chuba or JC. Okay, but do y'all really believe Chuba is a necessary foundational piece? You get what I'm saying? If this is a true
Yeah.
rebuild and you can get something for Chuba, I think Chuba can be replaced a lot easier than a fully healthy JC Horn. Now I'm just throwing that out there.
I think the thing
Well,
is too. Go ahead, Tony, and then I'll rebuttal.
no, I was gonna ask CJ. Well, if you get rid of Chuba, and if they trade Miles Sanders like most Panther fans want Carolina to do, then who do you have to be with a tandem? Who do you have to be a tandem with Jonathan Brooks?
Shoot, hey, my Black Shear and bring Boone off the practice squad. Hold on. I'm just saying. Wait. I'm just saying. If we tearing this stuff down to rebuild it, I mean that's what we're gonna do anyway. We've been doing it all year, signing people off other people's practice squads just to get by.
You didn't say a name. What's the running back from Washington? I'm going blank.
Dylan
Johnson. Yeah.
That's who I was gonna say. I was gonna put Dylan Johnson.
Yeah, I would put Dylan Johnson out there
over Mike Boone. Yeah. That's the only thing I was gonna say. I'm like, you forgot that particular person. But
I did. Thank you.
I will say this: if we did trade Chuba, and I've been watching a plethora of college games, that is a running back. There's plenty of running backs, plethora of running backs that you can get to be a tag team member with Jonathan Brooks, with him being a lead back. So I would not be. So if they do it, I would be, I know what it means. But I'm not going to cry over spoiled milk, because there is some running backs out there that can come in and produce and be fresher and be a different type of back that Dave Canales and Isaac want for this offensive scheme.
Yeah. Well, I think another thing is too, is like the problem is the reason why I say Chuba Hubbard is expendable is because, no offense to him, the running back position value has gone down, just like the safety position has. It's not as valued as much as what once was, and that's the issue. But I think he's expendable due to the fact of that. But you also, just like Doug said, you could go out and get. There's going to be some free agent running backs that you could pick up and pair with Jonathan Brooks. You also could get another one in the draft. I mean, Miles Sanders, I've already predicted it. He's going to go I think he's going to the Dallas Cowboys. I think he's going to get traded. Dallas needs a run game. They don't have one. It's non-existent. It's the worst in the NFL, and they have to get some help. So I think they're going to be coming knocking on our door. But yeah, I think there's guys that are definitely expendable. Now, JC Horn, I mean, if we're going to talk about him, I mean, Doug, do you think JC Horn's expendable, or do you think he's a guy that
you might not hear from me for about a couple of weeks. Don't call me. Don't. They trade JC Horn. I'll be hurt. I ain't even gonna.
Don't say that. I'm gonna blow your phone up just for the hell of it.
I promise you, I ain't gonna answer. It might be a MF. No, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I can't.
But I agree though. JC got to stay.
Like if they really let JC Horn go, what are we doing? Like honestly, I don't see the vision. I don't. Again, like we just said, Tony asked the question about the house. We're using the analogy of the house being for the Carolina Panthers. If we let go certain core pieces of this team, what are we doing?
Now I'm gonna play devil's advocate, and so CJ just said, sometimes there's crack in the foundation. Have we not, up until this year, talked about how often JC Horn stays injured? Is that not a crack in the foundation? Talk to me.
That's a fact.
Talk to me. Because every year up until right now, JC Horn has not been healthy, has not played a full season. I remember at one time there was a stat online that JC Horn has played 17 out of the possible, I think it was like 36 or 40 games.
I know which stat you're talking about.
Yeah, so basically only played 1 year out of 3 years total games played that could have been played. So right now, as it sits, yes, he is healthy, he is balling out, but I mean, when we talk about the crack in the foundation, CJ, me and you have talked plenty of times about how often JC Horn is injured and can't stay healthy. To me, that would be a crack in the foundation.
But
I'm just saying.
But we have this year and his fifth. Hold on, but we have this year and his 5th year option.
It's already been picked up.
Yeah, it's already been picked
Right.
up.
Yeah.
You might as well go ahead and see if you can pull off 2 in a row.
But I was just basing on where we sit at right now, heading to this trade deadline. If just this. But you are correct. We do have this year and his 5th year option, which has already been picked up. But that don't mean he can't be traded. If
that's
you feel like
I was
you
gonna
can
say,
get
I
great
think
value
that's
for
a
him.
sign, though, Tony. I was gonna say, I think that's a sign because they picked it up without him even playing a game. And you guys are asking when we did our defensive breakdown, and I think we had Clay. I think Clay was on one of those. I forgot if he was on offense or defense, but I remember I told everybody I think J.C. Horn will play a full season. He hasn't got the picks that I wanted because I at least want him to get 6 picks. But he's looked every bit of what we needed to see when he came out of South Carolina.
Facts.
So for me,
I agree.
It's more. I will be more hurt because we all have fan favorites. I'm a Carolina Panther fan, but I got J.C. Horn signed right here on this wall behind me. I got J.C. Horn's jersey right there in that bedroom. So it's more like I'll get over it, but I don't understand. Like I said, I don't understand the vision whenever he's looking healthy of giving up value just for a draft pick that may not come out as we've seen with Scott Fitterer choosing talent, where it's kind of shaky in Carolina's with draft picks being a hit or a miss.
Well, let me ask you guys a question. If let's say Red Swarm's right about this, let's say a team offers us a second round pick, would you do it?
Me personally, I wouldn't.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, CJ.
I'm gonna have to say no because I'm gonna stand on this hill. I think JC is one of those foundational pieces. And Tony, and you was talking about how the foundations can be cracked. Okay, now just say that this organization, upper management, they still have belief in Ejiro Evero, and he is brought back next year. Could you imagine that same defense without J.C. Horn? If that's a crack in the foundation, I'm gonna get me some concrete filler and I'm gonna seal that bad boy up.
Evero better not be the D quarter next year. If he is, I don't understand that.
We don't have to. We don't.
Anything is possible.
We don't need.
But when I say get some concrete filler for the foundation, oh, I'm wrong then.
I hadn't thought about that yet. That's all.
Hey, we got another super chat, Clay.
Oh God,
Tony, read that one for me.
So, do y'all think the training staff has some blame in the plethora of injuries the team has? Is that a depth? Is that a department that may need some changes?
David Tepper's to blame.
What?
Hold on. Doug makes a good point though. What was one of the first things Tepper did when he got here? He put in that damn turf field.
Grass field, and if you've been on that
20-something years,
if you've ever been on that turf, it is worse than some high school fields. And Tony, you living in Texas, we both know how some of these high school football stadiums look better more than some of these college and NFL stadiums, and they're grass.
Yep.
Yeah. The only reason why we went cheap is because we have a soccer team now that is doing better than the Carolina Panthers, and it's a different investment. That's a different conversation. But when you look at that playing field, look at when the Detroit Lions, they came in that cold game. They wanted to sue or say that the playing surface was unfair for them to go against. That's not the first game that we've had underneath David Tepper that we've had issues with the turf at the stadium. Shaq Thompson came out, was a big advocate of the playing field. Yes, Janelle is right about, do you blame the training staff? Yes. But at the same time, it's the playing surface because not only have our players been complaining about it, but the other opponents coming in. Thank you.
Don't they switch it out to a grass field when they play the soccer games?
No.
No.
Yes. No. Yes.
They did once at the beginning of this year, right?
When the World Cup comes, they do change. They do change it to grass.
No, I
not Charlotte FC.
I thought it was talking about Charlotte FC. That's what I know.
That's Charlotte FC.
That's how I thought you were talking about Charlotte FC.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
What was the last one that came? Copa America? Was that the Copa America?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yeah.
they had grass field. They had grass then.
But look at it. You
Okay.
have, I think, the Rams, the Raiders, and it's another team. Those indoor, the new stadiums where they have the grass and they have the turf field. Like when you
Because
have the
they have the
Cowboys
system that
started that.
slides it out.
Yeah.
And then
Cowboys, but
Okay.
I don't want to say it
Yep.
sound dumb.
But that
Don't they
thing,
slide it out and slide it back in?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But we don't you don't have the space uptown Charlotte to do that. I think that would have to be something if they were to completely rebuild Bank of America Stadium in another spot to where they can
That
have
part, yes.
the not the retractable but the slide in slide out grass field, because like with Jerry Jones and Texas Stadium, they have the field that slides in for the high school teams,
Yep.
for the college teams, for the bowl games, and for the NFL. Yeah.
Shout out to Nella's $5 donation. I mean, it says $4.99, but I just say it's $5 at this point. So
Appreciate
shout out
you,
to
Nella.
them. Appreciate that for sure. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Is Nakari trying to start some drama here?
Always.
Oh man.
Fight back, Tony.
Oh man.
It's not funny. Go ahead.
That's funny. You saying that it's not funny with a straight face.
Not funny at all.
Oh, goodness.
Man. So far, so good. Guys, we got over 30 people watching. Please do me a favor. Hit that like button. We would greatly appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button. Also, please sign up today for BetUS. We have that sponsorship of this live stream. Sign up for free today. You get 125% bonus on your first bet. You get $2,000 up to $2,000 and 200% on crypto deposits if any of you got that Dogecoin, you know what I mean? So shout out to you guys, shout out to everybody in the chat. Let's move on with the trade deadline. We've already said our piece, but let's get into that NFL draft, shall we? And we got to look into this draft. Obviously, we've said I've seen a lot of people say quarterback. I've seen Cam Moore being as the number one pick. Then I've seen Travis Hunter as the number one pick for Carolina. And then I've heard people say, well, we need to trade that pick back for, draft capital. Tony, let's start with you.
Oh, you would have been better off starting with somebody else, because I ain't gonna get into that draft stuff right now. It's way too early, man. Because anything can happen between now and then. I always tell CJ I like to talk about the draft at the end of our season, so we know exactly how many draft picks that we have, what position that we're in. That to me, for me, this easier to kind of dictate how things would go. But right now, as it currently stands, if we were to keep Bryce after this year, right, then yes, I think that you should focus solely on the defensive side of the ball, at least with the first 3 or 4 picks. You know what I'm saying? If you want to slide one offensive player or 2 offensive players in there, so with 9 picks, if 7 of them are for the defense, I wouldn't be opposed to that. Like I said, that's based on Bryce still being a Panther next year.
Okay.
Do y'all think, and I think the better, because everybody's looking at quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
This is one thing when we drafted Bryce Young, and I think the question needs to come back. Are we stop, CJ? Are we a quarterback away from making the playoffs? Because that's what they thought when we drafted Bryce. I think that's the better way of looking at the draft, because everybody's looking at Cam Moore, everybody's looking at Shedeur Sanders. Ewers, before he got hurt, was a name thrown out there because we had Texas Connects on the roster. Who else? Dart. You like Dart out of Ole Miss, Clay. I think it's more of, whenever you brought these questions upon us, I said, or presented them to us, we're more than a quarterback away. You have
Exactly.
D line issues that we need to be resolved. You have O line issue. Again, I forgot who broke. I'm not gonna say broke the news, but 31.3 mil. Something's gonna happen with Taylor Moton. I don't know if he's gonna get cut. I don't know if he's gonna get traded, or I don't know if we're just gonna eat that money. But something's gonna come about that tackle position. Then you look at corner. I've already told all of y'all, and y'all laugh at it. Mike Jackson. That's all I'm gonna say. Mike Jackson gets the shot total treatment right now. Tone would like that. I see the smile. I see the smile that he got on his face. Mike Jackson gets the shot total treatment from Doug.
He wouldn't if they would just keep a corner over the top of him on every single play.
And you said that. You said that. You said that. So for me, it's more what holes do we see? I think that's better because, again, we're not a quarterback away. Everybody knows we need D-line help. We need D-line help.
Right.
Hopefully, I pray we'll be able to see Wanham. I thank God that he was able to come through in the recovery that he had. Because having 3 times, not once, but 3 times, that is life. That is life-threatening almost. So I just need to see. Today. Yeah, I need to see what we can get out of him. Then you look at the linebacker. Is Shaq Thompson coming back? If Shaq Thompson's not coming back, we're possibly going to need to draft another linebacker. So there's more holes than just a quarterback on this roster. One thing I do love is the youth movement. And what I really am going to emphasize is we possibly have wide receivers that are going to grow with their quarterback. One thing that I have been jealous about is where CJ and I both drafted a player, Jordan Love in fantasy football. If you look at the wide receivers that they brought in with Jordan Love, they were either drafted a year before or they've been drafted whenever he was drafted to the Green Bay Packers. So you want,
it was.
Yeah,
no, I would say it was the year Aaron Rodgers left. So when they got rid of Aaron Rodgers, they went on a shopping spree.
Yeah, but the shopping spree was through the draft. None of the wide receivers that they have are actually free agents. They may have some, but the majority of them are draft picks. So I'm glad of the youth movement. Again, I think Ms. Anki Dory said 21 through 26. Some players now are coming out with that COVID year. I think is this year the last year for COVID year for college?
I don't know.
I'm not sure on that.
So, I mean, reason why I said it, because you're going to possibly have some mature rookies coming in, like 24, 25. So, I mean, for me, for the draft, we're not a quarterback away. People can keep saying, oh, we need to draft a quarterback. Okay, we draft a quarterback. What does that do? What does that do?
Well, I think that only go in my opinion, in my view, that's only necessary if you get rid of Bryce. You have to have a quarterback on your roster that can spin it. So if you get rid of Bryce, I think that Carolina can take a quarterback, whoever they choose in the first round, and they can use the rest of the picks to draft a linebacker. I mean, not linebacker, but on defense. They can draft defense. Because there's a plethora of defensive linemen that'll be available in this draft. You know, when you're talking about stopping the run, applying pressure up front. There's a lot of defensive linemen. There are also some linebackers. I mean, there's help on the defensive side of the ball.
Yep. But Josh made a comment. He said if they continue to play Bryce, we will know if we'll need to draft one or not. But you know what? That's true. I mean that's a true statement. That is a true statement, because I'm thinking like this. If I agree with Tony, we need help on the defensive side of the ball, and if say like a Travis Hunter, if we pick first, of course he'd be available. For some weird reason, just say we pick second or third, somebody actually ends up being worse than us, and he's not there. We still got Bryce. Hey, best player available other than the quarterback, or potentially make a trade back. I mean, you know how we do.
Yeah.
I saw an interesting stat the other day that if quarterbacks in college started more than 20 snaps, they have a better chance to develop in the NFL. That's why we see guys like Anthony
20
Richardson.
snaps or 20 games?
20 games. Sorry, 20 games.
Oh.
So 20 games. So 20 games. Like started 20 plus games. Right. There wasn't an exact average, but said that most of the guys like that will develop in the NFL. And so if they don't, and that's why we see Anthony Richardson the way that he is. That's why you're seeing why they're going to bench him for the rest of the season, and he is not panning out.
But that's his fault, though, Clay. That is on him because again,
yes, part of it is
what he did. You don't do that.
No.
You don't do what he did.
No,
you don't do
Not
that
at all.
Hey,
You don't do
Michael
that.
Parsons
Not
said.
quarterback.
Michael Parsons said he should have lied. He said when he asked that question, dog, you should have lied.
Yeah,
right.
yeah, you should. Yeah, you should say your hamstring,
Right,
or
fake a
something.
hamstring or whatever.
You
Something.
don't come off and tell the people, man. Listen,
I was tired,
being
boss.
able to telling your coach one thing on the sidelines or in the locker room is one thing. When you talking to the media, that's a whole different animal, man.
Animal, for
Because
sure.
now that is out there for public consumption. You,
Mhm.
oh my God, oh
and
my
now,
God,
and now they're
That-
just going to run with it, and they're just going to run with
Yeah.
it and tear you alive.
Still running.
But yeah, I see three scenarios for Carolina here. Like you either draft that quarterback, right? You draft the Drew. Like for me, my favorite quarterback in this draft class, who I think is going to be the best one, is Drew Allard out of Penn State.
Yeah.
But I bought because he's the typical style quarterback. If you go look him up, he's a 6'5", 238, big arm talent, mobile, but he's not. He's not like mobile. He's not gonna pull an Anthony Richardson at 6'5", right? But then you've got other guys like Jackson Dart or Garrett Nussmeier out of LSU. So like,
LSU,
yeah, I like those guys. I like Cam Ward as well. I think Cam Ward, Quinn Ewers, Shador. I like those guys, but am I really looking to go get a quarterback in this draft class when I'm looking at Arch Manning in 2026 or Nico out of Tennessee the next year?
Nico scares me though, but that we can talk whenever he comes out.
Right.
But even when you mention that, mention that scenario, Clay, that sounds like tanking. That's like you saying Carolina should tank in 2025 to have the possibility or have the chance to draft Arch Manning in 2026. I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think no NFL team is built to tank a full season ahead of time because of one player that may be coming out.
They used to do it though. Now hold on. Now
basically tanked last year. We tanked.
Not now. But like when Eli and them came out,
what makes the difference another year?
Like when Phillip Rivers came out, teams were tanking. Like I said, back in the day, they did, but they don't tank now. They did used to tank back in the day, but now you don't hear about that because
I mean, me personally, this is what I'd like to see. Honestly, though, I think we take the first round pick, we trade back, we go and get our defensive line, defensive tackle, defensive end, whatever it is, right? Go get the best player available in that position.
Solidify the other line. Like Tony. Right. Tony is I mess with him. He's the trench guy.
Right.
I really joke with Tony, but I'm being serious. With the philosophy that he has, where do you win most of the time? At the front. In the front.
More like
on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
On both sides of the ball. You already did it with your offensive line. Now, why can't you do it with your defensive side? You're going to have DB back. If one of them does, I'll say this. If one of them gives me 5
Sometimes in life, I hate family. I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud? I'm sorry.
You did. But if one of them if one of them gives me 5 sacks, I think I'll be fine with that. Do I think Clowney? Because I do think Clowney, and Clay didn't even say it. Clay already told me who he thinks Clowney's going to get traded to.
He'll be a Buffalo Bill before the trade deadline's over.
And if that happens,
you think so?
Yeah, Clay is one of the first.
Why say that? Why you say that? I didn't mean to cut you off, dog, but
because they need an edge rusher who can defend the run, and they need some veteran leadership on that defensive line. And Brandon Beane and him are best of friends, and I wouldn't be surprised if he comes calling for see if Clowney's available.
Clowney defends the run.
Hold on. Hey, you got a super chat. Hey, we got another super chat, Clay. Before we
Two
I'm just
of them,
saying.
say.
I just wouldn't be surprised. Let me.
Right.
So, Red Swarm comes in with a $5 donation. Generally speaking, guys, when a team is picking number 1 in the draft, they need a quarterback. Just saying, and I agree with that, and I do agree with that.
Mhm.
But my draft strategy is really this. This is what I would like to see. I'd like to see them take that number 1 overall pick, trade back, right? Get some more draft capital in this draft, and maybe some future capital as well. But go out there, rebuild that defensive line. I'm all about the trenches as well, Tony. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I believe in the Nick Saban mindset. You win on the offensive line, you win on the defensive line. All right. But then in that
apply
second,
pressure, stop pressure.
correct. And I think that if Jackson Dart falls to the second round, you take him.
No.
And you let him sit for a year behind a bridge quarterback. Whoever
you know me, you fought about that on live. I am not a big Jason Dart.
Yeah.
Me and you fought about that. You know how I feel about him. No.
Yeah.
But Jackson Dart is not a guy. Listen, listen, I'll tell you this. Based off of what I've seen, I think he's got the great scramble to run the RPO, which the NFL loves to run the RPO. There's a lot of pre-snap reads and he shows a lot of anticipation. I think he's very polished. Right?
I'll take LSU's quarterback over Jason Dart.
I think he could be there in the second round too. I think he could be there in the second round.
Let me ask you this question though, Clay. How does that offense at Ole Miss set up NFL quarterbacks? Because you think about it.
Good point.
What's his name? Who do we take in the third round?
Oh, you talking about Matt Corral?
A couple years ago? Matt Corral.
Who?
No, Matt Corral, the quarterback.
Matt Corral. Yeah,
Matt Corral.
Matt Corral played in the same system, under the same head coach, at the same school, Ole Miss. Jackson Dart ain't that head and shoulders, if at all, better than what Matt Corral was. And there was a lot of people screaming and talking about Matt Corral being the potential number 1 draft pick, and I said no, not coming out of that system. That system doesn't transfer to an NFL style quarterback. It doesn't benefit NFL style quarterback. There's a lot of good quarterbacks in college that put up good numbers and things like that, but their system, the scheme that they come from in college, does not set them up to succeed in the NFL, because now you're talking about the learning curve all over again. And I think that's when you start to see a lot of blemishes in these quarterbacks' game, because they wasn't prepared beforehand. So that learning curve comes from here to here. I just don't think Jackson Dart fits that criteria that a quarterback that you want to.
Can we say that Jackson Dart doesn't fit the wide zone scheme that Dave Canales runs, though? I
right.
mean, do you think he does it or doesn't fit that?
The wide zone scheme?
Because it's a wide. That's what he runs. It's a wide zone scheme. It's basically kind of similar to a West Coast.
No, yeah, I know, yeah. I honestly I haven't watched a whole lot of film or games on Jackson Dart, but I remember Jackson Dart when he was at USC, and this was before Lincoln Riley got to USC.
Yeah,
right. But that system that they ran out there, even before Lincoln Riley, was the air raid.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that's not a system that really translates over to the NFL. Look at Bailey Zappi, air raid offense in Western Kentucky.
Hey, Tony, you got a point, because was air raid before he went to Miami. Cam Ward was air raid at Washington State.
It was,
and now, but look, he's actually able to work in 2 systems, because he was not bad in the air raid, and then matter of fact, let's even go back. He came from Incarnate Ward. I think I said it right. The team on the school out of Texas, then went to Washington State, then went to Miami.
Incarnate Ward.
Yeah. So,
yeah. But go ahead, CJ.
Oh, I was gonna say, all I can say is let's just hope that Canales has the freedom to pick his
guy.
quarterback,
Yeah.
who he
Right.
wants, because you can definitely tell the difference in the play calling from when Andy is in and when Bryce is in. You know, and we campaign for Bryce on our channel. We support him, but it's I think it's clear, you know, that it's yeah. I hate to say this like this. I don't think he's a Canales guy. I don't. Yeah.
No.
So
No, we can tell it's not
Evan,
Canales guy. You know, we can tell it based off
haven't
the press conferences.
haven't they announced him to be the starter this week?
He
Yes.
did
Yes,
just
they
announce
did.
it today. He
He's
announced it
starting.
today that he's going to
Yeah.
be the starter. So, I mean, if again, there's plenty of, obviously there's a lot of time for the draft. And obviously, once we do some more of this, we can talk more about it. I just think that in this draft class, like, I want to go all defense, but I wouldn't be opposed taking a quarterback. I'd rather just trade back with that first overall pick, get more draft capital, build those trenches up properly, get some bigger guys, get some extra draft capital for the future. If we find a quarterback, maybe in the second round, like I said, a Jackson Dart or a Garrett Nussmeier, or whoever may be there, right, that we can get, then I'd like to see them bring in a bridge guy and let them sit for a year properly and develop them the way that Bryce should have been developed in the first place. And that's just my opinion. But I'm not opposed to going, if they decide that they want to go with Drew Allard or Cam Ward or Shador, whoever Canales wants, and that will prove, like, if they go get a quarterback at that first pick and we stay there, right, and they go get a quarterback, that tells me that Canales wants that guy.
But I think about this: if Carolina ends up at the end of the season with the number one pick in the NFL draft, and like you said, you want to see Carolina trade back and pick up draft capital. We all know that with that first overall pick comes a king's ransom. The further team comes up for that pick, the more ransom you're going to get. So you talking about teams out there that's going to be shopping for a quarterback. We already know that the Raiders love Shador Sanders. Would they be willing to come up and get him?
Probably.
What would they be willing? What would they be willing to give to get that number one spot and take Shador Sanders?
Yep.
Tom Brady, who's like an uncle to him, that's also like a mentor to him. Is in Las Vegas now.
Mm-hmm.
He has a good relationship with the ownership. He has made it publicly known that he wouldn't mind going to the Raiders. So I think that's a possibility. I mean, what kind of trade compensation do you think would be feasible or acceptable? Let me say that you feel would be acceptable for Carolina to move off that first overall draft pick.
I mean, I could see them. I mean, it just depends. I mean, the Bears got, good Lord, look what the Bears got, from us. Can we be that team to fleece another team is the question.
But we're not Scott Pitter.
Absolutely not.
Yes.
Absolutely
no.
not.
Pause.
Absolutely not.
We did it in the draft.
Read the shirt, Doug.
We did it in the draft. So
we did it in the draft with the Rams for that Jonathan Brooks trade. We did do it for that. That's what I'm
saying. So that's why I said hold your horses now.
I think
but that was not the level of trade of the Bryce Young trade.
I think we could get.
Didn't have it.
Let's say the Raiders, right? And I'd have to look at the Raiders draft. Let's say they have a pick in every round, right? And I could see them giving us a first. Their first, right? Their a third round pick as well. On top of that, a fourth round pick and a future first and a second. Because that seems feasible in that aspect of things. Because that's kind of what the Bears did to us, in a nutshell, a little bit. Now, but I'd have to look at the Raiders. So to give you a full extent, but I could see something like that. If we got something like that, I'm all for it.
But we threw in our number one receiver. Sorry,
I would say this though, CJ. You have a point with the fleece with the trade in season, but what Dan Morgan did, Dan Morgan has to cover Scott Fitter's ass for most of the damage he's done to this team. For him to get that second round pick back, that what he was able to get just in his first year, that's where I'm saying we have to. I mean, you have to look. And when you said it, I said I totally agree with getting the extra pick for Deontay Johnson, not just swiping picks. But when you look at what he was able to do, getting that second round pick, and now we're not even talking final draft boards. I do think we're going to have movement where we're going to get more picks. Mm-hmm. And you also got, and I'm praying to God that Evero gets a head coaching position so we can finally get that third round pick that we were trying to wink in and Harper down on for years.
Mm-hmm.
I pray he
Mr. Hunky Doors said, Mr. Hunky Doors said, can we get anything for the ping pong king?
Oh, I did see that. He also donated $2. Shout out to Hunky Dory again. Big money Hunky Dory. Last, is Canales calling decent, good, etc.?
I think it's good when you compare it to what we have seen the past couple of years. Play calling for the Panthers. I like that he's mixing it up. He's trying to find out what these guys do best. You know what I'm saying? And trying to play to their strengths. Like, this is not his first year. I think this is his second or third year calling plays, first year head coach. I like some of the things that I have seen schematically, but I think I don't think that it was going to be all perfect coming out the gate. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But I think the thing that a lot of Panther fans definitely wanted to see was it was better than last year.
You wrong for that, Clay.
Damn.
You wrong for that, Clay.
Oh my God.
Oh God. Okay. All right.
I mean, at this point, it feels like it. You know what I mean? Like, at this point, there's just there's no sugarcoating it anymore. You know,
it's not.
It's really not. You can't sugarcoat it anymore. You know, so I mean, this is where the state we're at. Oh man, what a good show so far. Final topic, gentlemen. Let's get into it. And before we do that, shout out to our sponsors of BetUS. Make sure you sign up for free today. Link is down in the description. 125% bonus on your first bet up to $2,000. And also, just a favor, hit that like button. And if you know our channels, go make sure you subscribe to What's Up, Doug, and the two fans in the stands. Their links are in here. Okay. All right. Last but not least, gentlemen, how much longer is Tepper's patience gonna last?
Ooh, boy. All right.
CJ,
can I go first on this one?
I was gonna head your way. I could tell you were ready to roll on this one. So
if we have 2 more weeks as the trend has been lately, it's not gonna last past week 11.
Okay.
That's my thoughts. I don't see him having I just don't see it. And I told Tony, I told Doug this. Now, do I want Canales to get canned? No. But if we went to the bye week, getting our ass beat 2 straight weeks, New Orleans and then going over to Germany, for the whole world to see at 9:00 in the morning Eastern Standard Time. If we'll go over there and get steamrolled by the damn Giants and Danny Dimes, who ain't played worth a damn all year long, yeah, it would not surprise me. It would not surprise me one bit. I don't see it. I don't see it. Yeah, that's all I got.
Go ahead, Doug.
I already talked to Clay about it. Like he already know. I said it'll be bad judgment if he pulls another string, because I told Clay if he pulls a string, when he says Day Canales goes, they all get in the car, they go to Cancun. He might as well set a team. If he gets rid of him this early, you'd say he's gone, and I'm selling the Carolina Panthers. That's it.
Yep. Tony,
I think. You know me, I'm always going to keep hope alive. So I think that David Tepper. Yeah, David Tepper has done good thus far this year, and I think he needs to keep that streak up and let it run towards the end of the season. And whatever decision that he makes at that time, I mean, that's typically normally when these owners and things like that are being made. I don't think he's going to make any in season rash decisions. I think he's trying to clear that part of his resume, and chart a new way forward. I'm
Right.
trying to speak positive about him a little bit, but no, I don't see him making any rash in season moves. I think behind the scenes, I think he's well aware of what Dave Canales and Dan Morgan is doing, and I think he's signed off on a lot of these moves, saying, "Okay, yeah, I'm cool with it. I understand what you
Mhm.
guys are trying to do." Because, like I said to CJ, we have to remember Dan Morgan did not sugarcoat a lot to anybody during that first press conference. He's the first
He didn't.
GM in a long time that has used the word rebuild. This is a process, and it's going to take at least 3 years to get there. I think we as fans, when we start seeing good things happen, like we did, like I did. I'm gonna say me, like I did during free agency. It was easy to forget about what he said in the press conference. So now I'm thinking, okay, we're going to be better this year. No way in the world you would have told me that we would still be 1-7 or 1-8, whatever the record is right now. But he did say in his initial press conference that this is a rebuild. We got to bring our guys in, and this is a 3-year process. Now, whether people wanted to believe that or not, that's a different topic.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree with you, Tony. I think you got to give Canales time. I think that if Tepper wants to hold his reputation to not be this guy who just fires guys after midseason or year one every single year, and wants to show that he has some patience and shows that he's not meddling within football operations and he doesn't want to be known as that. You let Canales give Canales that 2 to 3 year window, right? And this is only year
Mhm.
one. And I want to see what Canales has. There was a lot of hype about this guy coming in. I get that he was a rookie head coach. He was also a rookie OC before he really came here. And we've also have
That's true.
heard, so it's also like we've heard this guy be this quarterback guru. And I really want to see if that's really true once he actually gets his guy. And I want to see him actually get his guy and see if that does come to fruition. That's what I want.
Yes, yeah,
Facts.
yeah. Because most head coaches, when they come to an organization, if the quarterback that was there before they got there is not panning out, they
Mhm.
typically go and draft the quarterback of their choosing. One, that gives them the opportunity to work with the quarterback that they feel is best fit for the team and for their scheme, but it also gives that head coach 3 to 5 years of grace because of the rookie contract that you're going to get with a first round draft pick at quarterback. So hopefully you get that extension or that time with that quarterback for him to grow, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, fellas, what a show it was. An hour and 23 minutes in. Doug, let me get your final words, my friend.
Better days are coming. That's my. I need a shirt. The plug for our two fans in the stands. Can you do a better days are coming shirt and send it down to Texas for me? But that's all, man. It's better days are coming. I'm being serious. Like it's bad right now, but it can
Yeah, I
only
need to
get
keep it
better.
alive.
It only can get better.
Hey, look, the
CJ.
next one, the next one is going to be Rick James inspired and be like super fleeced.
That's awesome.
I'm sorry. What'd you say, Clay? My bad.
Now, final words. Final words.
Hey man, it's all a big wait and see game. I just like I said, if this is a true rebuild, the Deontay Johnson trade did not impress me because you want to stack picks. We got 9 picks going into the draft. I would bet money that we're not going to draft 9 players. Okay. And if that's what happens, you got to have more capital to better suit yourself to be able to trade up some of these spots and to maybe acquire, better draft positions if you're not worried about having that same number of picks going out of the draft as you did when you went in. So it's just a wait and see game. Yeah. Yeah. All my hope is gone. I keep trying to hold on to a little bit of something, but yeah. Yeah, the well is empty. That's all I got.
Tony?
Yeah. I don't know. I really don't have nothing because I really don't have any expectations for the rest of the season. I think it's a wait and see game. Waiting to see how things pan out. I think the one thing that I'm really going to be looking forward to seeing the rest of the season is the maturation of Bryce. You know what I'm saying? How his game has developed, how him and Canales um work as a tandem throughout the rest of the season, and if Bryce can show any progress to give you any belief that he can be the quarterback of the future.
Yeah. Well, guys, I appreciate y'all coming on to the NFC South Roundtable. This is just a first episode of the Panthers Roundtable. There's more to come for sure. We will have another one of these coming out. Hopefully maybe we can make this a weekly thing. Maybe we'll see how often we'll be able to do it. I'm obviously working on trying to get this as a weekly thing, and so hopefully we can continue that. I appreciate everyone joining the live stream today. Shout out to Doug. This is his channel right here. Make sure y'all go like and subscribe to him. Here's 2 fans in the stands. That's CJ and Tony down below. Make sure you go like and subscribe to them. And of course, as always, make sure you go check out the Robstar Report as well. Go like and subscribe. You guys know where I'm at. Yeah, I don't even have to put it up there, but I did anyways. So appreciate everyone joining the live stream. As always, 3 things that I like to leave you with on my channel. Have fun. Be safe. Keep pounding. Peace.